Yo, welcome back to the Players Ball Podcast, where we cover all sports far and wide. I'm your host, Roddy. We are back from summer vacation. There is football on this week. We have missed y'all. We appreciate the support that we've been getting, even in the time that we've been off. Everybody's been asking where's the show at, and trying to keep up with what's going to go on and go down this season. We thought to do it like we always do it at the beginning of football season and started off with a little preview of all the divisions. We'll start off with one division per week, and then we'll kind of ramp it up as time goes on. As these preseason games get played, we'll see a little bit more of these guys that are going to be out there. But I did want to start with the NFC West, of course, because the champion of the NFL is out of that division. And of course, we had to bring the biggest Rams fan that we know into the fold. Marty himself is in the building. My guy, what is going on with you?
What's good? How y'all doing today?
Man, he got the hat on too. Lord Jesus. I didn't even
No,
see the hat at first.
I got this shirt too.
Oh my God, Jesus. Yeah. So all that shipped. I know it's some supply chain issues, but I'm glad it could make it all the way over there, you know what I'm saying, to the Northeast.
Yeah. A lot of fans they had to attend to.
Look, I understand it. Trust me, you still on the high. I'm still on the high as well from all the championships that I witnessed over the past year. But I did want to start with kind of the new guys that are around. And of course, there are a lot of new faces. I don't really think any of them are like small names either, like of the guys who weren't drafted, at least. Of course, Bobby Wagner, an All-Pro and a Hall of Famer. I think we can both agree he will be in the Hall of Fame once he retires.
For sure.
I mean, there's so many guys to pick from. Allen Robinson, So who is the guy that you are really excited to see, or the guys that you're excited to see in LA this year?
So I'm gonna give two because I'm excited for all of them, but the two would probably be Bobby Wagner and Troy Hill. And to start with Bobby Wagner, is we have a linebacker that we had last year, Ernest Jones. He's a rookie, and he was really good throughout the year. Then he got hurt against Houston, and he came back in the playoffs. He didn't play a lot. I want to say he played that San Fran game, but it's like a limited snap count. Then he played in the Super Bowl. He had a deflection, and he had a sack. I think he's gonna be he's really good. They were talking about the green dot, but then you get Bobby Wagner. But I bring Bobby Wagner to that because I feel like when you have a second-year linebacker next to Bobby Wagner, that's just like the ultimate teacher. So I'm excited to see Bobby Wagner in a role where he could teach somebody else as well as just having Bobby Wagner on your defense. And it's different. To me, it's different than having Vaughn because Vaughn and AD could kind of play next to each other, but now you have a All-Pro at every level. Every level of the defense, you could say you got somebody who's Hall of Fame tier. And then Troy Hill. We had Troy Hill 2020. He got a lot of interceptions. I think he had 2 pick sixes. He's really good for us. And then he earned himself a bag with the Cleveland. So losing Darius Williams, I feel like getting Troy Hill back is going to be bigger than people expect. And I've been watching on the training camp news. Troy Hill's been balling. So those two are definitely the two I'll choose. And your boy Darian Kendricks too.
Georgia boy. Look, I'm telling you, Darian Kendrick is a dog. That boy he's solid too.
He's been in camp going crazy, bro.
And I mean, all of those kids are gonna be good. We'll gloat on all of the Georgia kids, especially when we get to the NFC East, because we're gonna have to talk about N'Kobe and Jordan. But yeah, I really am excited for the defense. I think, of course, with Cooper being the highlight of the offense last year, I think adding Allen Robinson is probably my favorite addition, just because I think it gives you guys more of a dynamic aspect. To have a guy who is an elite route runner, who is an elite slot wide receiver, and then a guy who can potentially be good to great on the outside, especially with Matt now, getting comfortable with McVay and, the way he runs things in the system. I think that's definitely going to be beneficial for him. And I mean, especially you guys getting your running backs back, and them being healthy, I think is another thing that was kind of underlooked, even though you guys were obviously able to overcome it. I think it'll make Matt's life a little bit easier. I don't know if you feel the same.
100%. when you look at how Cam Akers was playing in 2020, when he finally got the starting role, if we had that last year, like in that playoffs, we probably would have killed most of the teams we played. Like the Niners, we couldn't run. The Bengals, we couldn't run. Those games would have been a lot easier if we could have ran the ball and we wasn't so predictable. So like, I'm excited for Cam, and I'm also excited for Henderson too if he stays healthy, because they both, even going through injuries, they get at least 600-700 yards a year. So I feel like this fully healthy year, I think Cam could easily get 1,000. He's just explosive, and I like Henderson. So that combo could just help Stafford out so much. And like the whole thing with how you bring up A-Rob, like people forget Stafford's used to throwing to wide receivers to go deep. And last year we really didn't have that as much. Like I like Van Jefferson, but he wasn't like the Kenny Galladay or the Calvin Johnson. So when you give him an A-Rob, I think you see more responsibility, more responsible throws from him compared to having to throw intermediate all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's, I think, I mean, it's Matt's strength because I don't think people really understand how many yards he has at the age he is. Like he is going to probably finish top 5 in yardage when he's done. Like it's very conceivable that that will happen, you know, barring any injury. And I think that's going to be what the most important thing is, you know, in terms of, you know, Matt's outlook on this season.
Yeah.
I think he's got all the weapons he needs. I think it's just health with him, you know,
Just
being
health,
able to protect him, being able to, you know, if he does get hurt, because, you know, let's be honest, he does get hurt a lot. You know, making sure it's something that, you know, is manageable. You know, obviously sometimes it's out of their control, but I feel like if they have opportunities to protect them, they're going to do it every single time. So, Matt is on my sleeper, you know, my sleeper guys to have a really good year again. I mean, I know he's been consistently good, but I think he might even have a better year than last year just because, you know, like you were saying, you got guys back, you have more of a whole complete offense, and it's more suited towards you now. So I do think that's a great outlook. But in terms of the NFC in general, man, how do you feel like the Rams fare amongst the best teams? Because a lot of the talent obviously left the division this year. They, you know, went to different teams in the conference. It was, you know, a little bit more spread out. So how do you feel that the Rams, you know, fare amongst, you know, the other teams in the divisions or in the conference, should I say?
So you talking about just the division or the whole conference?
Yeah, in the whole NFC.
The whole NFC, I think they're easily the most talented team. Like, now I'm trying to be biased. If you look at just the quarterback talent that left the conference, you only have 3-4 elite quarterbacks. You know, you got Rodgers, you got Brady, you got Stafford. Then it depends on where you put Dak and where you put Kyler. But like after that, it's just like if you look at the defensive side, you look at the offensive side, they have stars everywhere. And the only team I've really seen being close to them was the Bucks. But I think losing Jensen, and then they lost Kappas. And they lost another. I forgot who the other offensive line player they lost that retired. But I just, it's hard to see Brady going a full year with his interior offensive line gone, especially losing center Jensen like this close to the year. I think that's a big drop off for them, but they'll still be talented. They got Julio, so, and it's still Brady, so I still hold them high. But compared to the other teams, I just think the Rams, and I'll say the Bucks. I'll say the Rams and the Bucks are two teams I think that are clearly above, but I think we're clearly number one.
Yeah, I would have to agree. Amongst, you know, just like we were saying, the NFC, the Bucks are. We'll get to it in the NFC South, and we're planning to have a big
That's gonna be
pod for the
crazy.
NFC South. So y'all be sure to stay tuned. I got some stuff in the works for that one. But I think the Bucks, like you were saying, it really is dependent on how good is the line going to be. A lot of people are putting a little bit too much stock into Chris Godwin coming back for me, just because I feel like a torn ACL is really crucial, especially at the point in the season where he tore his ACL. I don't know if he's supposed to be back or scheduled to be back at the beginning of the season, but I really think that losing Gronk, not having Chris Godwin, of course, Mike Evans is that guy, but not having AB either. it's going to be considerably harder for Tom, and he's going to have to be more precise and more calculated. And obviously, you heard the stories about the Bucks coaches being upset with Leonard Fournette for coming in to to camp overweight, but I still think it won't even matter if the line is ass. You know what I'm saying? If he doesn't have a hole to run through, it don't matter how fat he is. Like
exactly,
it's just not gonna work.
I mean, look at the playoff game last year. Like, they got blown out because they simply couldn't protect their running backs or the quarterback. So it's like, what is all these weapons if you can't get the ball to them?
Yeah, and my thing is, I feel like, obviously I'm gonna save it for the NFC South preview, but I feel like obviously the Saints are trending up and they have less questions. It's more about
100%.
will veteran players perform rather than will guys that we really don't have a lot of confidence in, are they going to step up? Are they going to be good to great players and fuel them to a playoff run or to a Super Bowl run? So I think it's definitely the Rams at 1. I think obviously you still got to give respect to the Packers. I mean, obviously they have the MVP, they have the defense this year. The receiving, situation is going to be in the air. I think they'll be fine though. And I don't know. Like after that, 1-2, it's kind of like,
it's
are
tough.
the Niners going to be 3? Are the Saints going to be 3? Are the Bucks going to be 3? Are the Eagles going to be 3? Are the Cowboys going to be 3? Like, we don't really know who's going to be that third best team.
Exactly.
So it'll be interesting to see who declares themselves as that. But I feel like who I'm gonna vie for.
And the thing with y'all is, I think y'all are in the best position of a team who has a question mark because y'all only have to worry about your quarterback. You know what I'm saying? And it sounds like Kamara is not going to get suspended till after the season. So, like, the Saints' defense to me is top, and if not 1, is top 3. So, y'all defense is elite. The wide receivers y'all got, elite. Kamara is one of my favorite running backs in the league. Like, I think people are asleep. I got y'all ahead of the Packers personally. And I really think y'all are one of those teams up there. Because when you look at both sides of the ball, it's like, how can you – and we seen what Jameis did last year with less.
Yeah, and now we got more. That's what I'm saying.
You got more,
like,
like.
Oh, look, look. I'm trying to fight myself from talking. I'm trying to fight myself from talking about it right now, man. But everything, I'll say this: everything that I've been hearing coming out of Saints camp has been amazing. I haven't heard too many negatives. The injuries have been down, knock on wood, for all of our teams. I mean, I don't want to see these guys come in 3 weeks of training camp, sweating their ass off, trying to get in shape, and then, go down with a season-ending injury. So, wishing good health on all of y'all's teams. Is, everybody play with that. Yeah, because we want everybody to be healthy. But we'll go to talking about your favorite team in the division. I know you're a Rams fan, but you love to talk about the team up north. Man. And this is kind of like it's kind of like similar to Daniel Jones's first year. I know that's going to kind of sound blasphemous.
Yeah, people will go crazy.
Yeah, it was like a lot of people were going crazy and saying the guy is, amazing. He's going to be the next best thing. Then a couple other people are like, he don't look that great to me, but, maybe he'll be okay with Shanahan. So where are you on the Trey Lance train? And do you think he is going to be, a guy that is able to come in directly and prove himself, or is it going to take some time?
So I think it's going to take some time. And I'm not comparing them as quarterbacks, but I have a development comparison. I think it's going to be like Josh Allen. I think you're going to see his first 2 years. You'll see flashes, but then you'll see him struggle a little bit. Team is good enough to make the playoffs, so they'll be in the playoffs for sure. But I think by his 3rd, 4th year, you'll really see Trey Lance like shine because he has all the tools. He has weapons around him. He has a good play caller. And it's just like, I feel like you either hate the 49ers or you're one of those people that like quarterbacks who play in big schools to not understand like how talented he is. Like when you look at his height, you look at his arm power, like what the people around him say, like he's going to be a good quarterback. I just don't think he's going to come into the league and just like, you Niners fans saying, oh, we was a Trey Lance away from winning the Super Bowl. And it's like, I don't know. I don't know if he's that yet. but he's gonna be talented. And, like people try to bring up the whole, well, Mahomes had a year, but Mahomes is just, we saw Mahomes tear a Power 5 conference. He was throwing 500 yards a game. So that was, to me, Mahomes is on a different level.
Yeah.
But I definitely think I would say boom overall, just because I think by his third, fourth year, we're gonna be talking about him in the top 10 for sure.
Well, I know one thing. Kyle better hope he don't take that long, because I don't think people really talk about this enough. But I mean, let's say that the Niners aren't good this year, or they have a losing record. That'll be 4 out of 6 years they had a losing record.
Yeah.
Like,
yep.
That's not good. So I mean, of course, the one season you go to the Super Bowl, and then the other season, you're in the playoffs, but you get beat.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's really difficult for me to judge Trey Lance, because I don't know what he looks like. And even with Carson Wentz coming out of South Dakota State, it's so difficult to judge a quarterback off of the competition that they play up there. And usually I'm not this type of guy, but when it comes to those D2 schools, it's like if you're in the upper echelon of D2, are you bottom of the barrel D1? Like, I don't know how to really compare that. So I understand, everybody is saying, the dual threat of Trey is one of the, biggest reasons why they see the upside. But I just have to see it on the field. I think they have every opportunity and every weapon he needs for him to be successful, and for him to, get out of those situations where, he's going to look like a rookie. Let's be honest. So I think he has the coach to do it. He has the weapons to do it, but it's going to be up to him. So,
and the thing with Lance and Wentz is, like, we saw Wentz play his full 4 years and stuff. But then you remember Lance had that year where he didn't play. I think he played like 3-4 games. So like the sample sizes was totally different. Like, I feel like we had enough film on Wentz than we did on Lance. So it's like it's super hard. But the Niners fans, I feel like they make it hard on him, like the way they speak on, Jimmy G and stuff like that. That's gonna be tough.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you just think about it, like, the Niners haven't really had, like, probably Jimmy Garoppolo is the worst of the Niners quarterbacks since, the Joe Montana era. Like, so they've really been spoiled, and, I guess they have the precedent of, our quarterbacks are either good or a Hall of Famer. Jeff Garcia isn't the greatest quarterback in the world, but he was damn good. You know what I'm saying? Alex Smith wasn't the greatest quarterback in the world either, but he was damn good. So I think it's just a Niner thing to put that type of expectation onto the quarterback position just because of what they've seen in the past. But it isn't fair. It isn't. And it may cause him to not live up to the expectations. So I'm interested to see that. I'm interested to see how that defense looks, because of course, I think they've always been good, but I think the secondary is still a little bit concerning for me, just because, I mean, you saw the secondary basically lose them that game. Like, so I don't know if that's going to be a problem again this year. I don't know if that was a one-time thing. We'll see. But, you have Bosa, you have Werner, you have Trent Williams on your offensive line. You're going to be okay in those tough areas. But, are you going to have enough talent to overcome what the Rams have, or what the Saints have, or what the Packers have? So it'll be interesting to see.
And the thing with our whole rivalry is, like, I feel like once we tasted beating them, we're gonna be way more confident, like, going on. Like, they keep hanging on to those regular season wins, but it's like, we beat y'all to get to the Super Bowl. Like, how do you think we feel going to see y'all next season? Like, we're, like the whole Aaron Donald, he said the other day, like, he hates the Niners, and they was like, their fans just went off. It's just like, why would we not be confident about seeing y'all when all the chips is on the table? We won.
Yeah, and I mean, look, you get over that hump. Like, it's like when Mike beat the Pistons. It's like once you get over that hump, you feel like you have the confidence to do it every single time. So
exactly.
we'll see. That's gonna definitely be 2 interesting weeks of football when y'all go up there and when they come down to LA, as
Legendary
it always
spaces.
is on Twitter. Yes, as always. But I want to get to the guy who we've been talking about a lot. I mean, it's not really been talk; it's really been like dissing him, to be honest, because of his independent study time. First of all, the black man got paid, so shout out to him.
Respect. I always love when the
And
black man get paid.
exactly. And second, I don't know how I feel about Kyler because did he look awful in that playoff game? Hell yeah, he looked awful against y'all in
Yeah.
that playoff game. But I don't know how much D-Hop plays into that. He's gonna get a guy he played with in college on his team now. How do you feel about Kyler? Does he have stuff to prove still? I mean, obviously, as the maybe second best team in the division, maybe third best team in the division, I feel like they're in limbo. So, what role do you feel like he's going to play for them this season?
I think, excuse me, I think he has a lot to prove because, like, when we talk about the whole film thing, it makes a lot of sense because if you watch the Cardinals the last 2 years, first 8 games, we think Cardinals best team, NFC, possibly in the NFL. Then they drop off. That just shows me when teams make adjustments towards the Cardinals. Does he know what his backup plan is? Does he know, all right, if they're going to send pressure over here, what am I going to do? If they change this coverage up, what are we going to do? It seems like every single year, week 9 comes around, he collapses. So, like, he has a lot to prove. Just as a quarterback and just as leading the team. Because if you look at the Cardinals, their roster got worse. So it's like the years you had a good roster, what did you do? You know what I'm saying? Excuse me. But
Yeah,
I don't know. It's hard.
I look, the thing with the Cardinals is I think they've always either been. I mean, they had the Chandler Jones and JJ Watt experiment. Obviously, Chandler got hurt last year, and JJ got hurt too. But I think they're just unlucky in a sense. Part of it also is they're just not as good as they think they are. I think they think they're ready to compete right now, and I don't think they are at all. Like you said, the roster did get worse. D-Hop did get older, of course, coming off an injury for a wide receiver, getting into the mid-30s area, especially with him being the highest paid wide receiver in in the NFL. It's just a lot of things that are gonna have to go right for them. And I think while Kyler gets put on the cross a lot, I think the coaching does have to come into question, even though we thought Cliff Kingsbury was great at the beginning of the season last year when they were rolling. I think, like you said, it after week 8, week 9, it's just like the steam just slows down. So I don't think they have enough this year to keep that steam going. I mean, adding Hollywood is great. Obviously, getting D-Hop back is cool too. Rondale Moore, I love, but I don't really see them doing nothing, man. Like they're probably gonna be like in the 7, 6 seed range, trying to either fight the Vikings or one of these lower level NFC teams in order to get into the playoffs. But I just don't see them being. I just don't see them living up to any type of expectation. I think Kyler will have a good season, but I just can't see it for me.
Yeah, I got him finishing 3rd, and I don't even. They might make the playoffs. I'm not too sure yet, but I think it's gonna be tough for them. And like another thing with the Cardinals, I think they fell into the trap of trying to get a young head coach and seeing if it was the right one. Like we took the risk with McVay. The Niners took the chance with Shanahan. I don't think Cliff is a Shanahan or a McVay. So when you look at, and that's just from a football standpoint and a leader standpoint, I don't see that in him. So it's just like you went with a younger coach who may not have been ready for this position yet. Because when you look at him in college, was he really that great of a head coach? Like, did he change the landscape of his program? He really didn't. You know what I'm saying? He had some great quarterbacks in college, So it's like, I just don't know. I feel like they fell under that trap, seeing 2 other teams in the division go young. But those two teams got coaches that had NFL experience, that was offensive coordinators, that was tight end coaches, that was under plenty of NFL experience. You know what I'm saying? Like McVay been under the Gruden family and the Shanahans for 10 years now. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I feel like they was following that path, but it wasn't the right team and the right time to do that. And when you look at Kyler, if he doesn't watch film, you need a coach that's going to be on him. You know what I'm saying? Like McVay's not letting his quarterback not watch film. You know what I'm saying? Like you saw what he did to Goff. You see what Shanahan's doing to Jimmy G. Like if those guys wasn't watching film, they're out of there. And I'm not saying Goff or Jimmy G don't watch film, but they do watch film. You know what I'm saying? And they still out of there. So imagine if Stafford's not watching his film or Goff wasn't. Like there's certain things your coach shouldn't allow you to do, and the fact that they had to put that in his contract shows you what's going on with the Cardinals as a team, just like in terms of accountability and responsibility.
Yeah, I mean, it just tells you a lot. Yeah, you gave your quarterback the bag, but you can, like you said, tell how they kind of feel about him with, the extra precautions they took in the contract to make sure, he's doing everything to fulfill, the highest potential that money that they're paying him is going to bring. So,
yep.
I really look at them kind of like the Eagles of the West. I mean, obviously Kyler is better than Jalen Hurts, but I think it's kind of a flip-flop issue. It's like Kyler has, a good weapon, decent pieces on the other, parts of the team. But it's just kind of in limbo just because everybody is kind of, either okay or mediocre. And then the Eagles are the same thing. They have, the talent around the quarterback, but the quarterback is mediocre to, just okay. So I just look at both of them in purgatory, and I think they'll be, even though a lot of people think the Vikings are going to have this dream season, I think they're going to be right there in the mix with the Vikings, with, getting one of those last playoff spots. So
I can see that.
Hopefully for the Cardinals fans, they work out, but yeah, it's going to be stress, especially in those late weeks, like week 14 through like 17, probably going to be hell for y'all Cardinals fans.
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy.
Praying for y'all. Don't know that life, poverty. Anyway, let's talk about real poverty though. To wrap it up. Well, we're not wrapping it up yet. We'll do predictions at the end, but
real poverty right here.
I want this team to fire their coach. I wanted this team to fire their coach 3 years ago. I think if this team fired their coach 3 years ago, they would still have Russell Wilson on their team. But just in general, how are the Seahawks going to win games?
That's good. That's tough. Only reason why I see them winning at least 5, maybe 6, is just because they got the last place schedule. So I could see them beating, a few other teams that they're equal to. But they're just like, the thing is, like, their offense is not completely bad. Like when you look at Noah Fant, Lockett, DK, running back, I think they got Kenneth Walker, I want to say.
Yeah.
They drafted him. So, they're a decent offense. A lot of question marks at quarterback.
Yes.
Pete Carroll, do we trust him anymore? Defense is where it gets spooky because I feel like you got, their linebackers are good. I like Jordan Brooks. I think he's one of the reasons why they was a little comfortable letting Bobby walk. But other than that, on their defensive side, it's just like, what's his name? The linebacker, Jamal Adams. He just got hurt again. I think he re-injured his wrist, I want to say.
Oh, damn.
And then it's just like he's not really good in coverage. So it's like your secondary is kind of weak. Defensive line, question marks. Good linebackers. Offense is good, minus the people that have to throw the ball. And then we don't even know if we trust your quarterback. So it's just like a lot of question marks. But if they did win less than 4 games, will we be shocked? We wouldn't. And that's saying a lot considering the offense,
Yeah, and look, I know I'm about to sound batshit crazy when I say this, but I genuinely believe that Drew Lock will be better than he was in Denver there, because if you know anything about that situation, there was a lot of rift between him and Fangio. Obviously, he just was a kid. You could tell if you've heard anything about Drew Lock. He was just a kid that wasn't maybe ready for the responsibilities of being a starting NFL quarterback. Obviously, Fangio was one of those veterans. So the clash there was pretty evident. But Pete Carroll is one of those guys I feel like that can, be that veteran presence, but also be, calm and soft enough to the point where the kid's actually going to listen to him and actually going to try to, be his best. So, like you said, DK's there, Locke is there, defense is very, very questionable. Running backs to me are very, very questionable. We're gonna see though, and this is the thing that I want to see from you. If that the offensive line is as trash as Russell Wilson alluded to, the NFL media is alluded to, is it really that trash or was it a rush issue? What do you think it was?
It was trash. Like Russ is a really good quarterback. Like you know what I'm saying? Like Russ gave me nightmares. Even though like we have a good record against Russ, the way he could just create. You know what I'm saying? Like he's not like Mahomes, but he's like Mahomes in a way where once he gets out that pocket and you see him throw the ball deep, you're like, oh, like you know what I'm saying? Like somebody might be open or he's throwing the ball 60 yards on the field. And my thing is like, there's no quarterback I know that would leave the pocket if they didn't have to.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like maybe sometimes you hold the ball too long. Every quarterback does that, but the amount of times I've seen defensive lines get through to Russ is just like, even when they play us, like it's not even just Aaron Donald, like it's our other defensive linemen just constantly getting through. Like it's not just Russ. Like, and the fact that Russ had 10 years where he had a winning season, no matter what roster changes they went through, I can't put him as the problem because he was the only he's the only reason why they was winning games the last 3 years, minus like Bobby Wagner and you know what I'm saying, like Bobby Wagner and Russ was the reasons. Like outside of them too, like who could you really say the Seahawks had that was willing them to win? So like to me, they're at the bottom of the list. Like when I look at why are the Seahawks on the downfall, it's the offensive line, it's DK being soft sometimes, and no secondary. Like if the defense is not stopping nobody and your offensive line can't block, your quarterback's never going to do what you need him to do. And Russ last year, he broke his finger against us in week 4, missed a month, and they still won 6 games, I want to say. And he still was 1,000 yards away from 4,000 yards, and he was probably 4 touchdowns away from 30, and he missed like 5-6 games. Like that just, you know what I'm saying? And we're over here talking about his offensive line. Like it's the same thing. Like we do this with Joe Burrow. Like we give Joe Burrow the excuse of, no offensive line. Why is it any different with Russ?
Yeah, I know. I definitely agree. I think it's a mix, a little bit of both. Sometimes Russ does hold the ball too long, but
for sure.
I think some of the offensive additions just are okay. I think some people just overblew the talent of some of the guys that they picked up. Were they good players? Yeah, they were good players, but they weren't, I feel like, what Russ deserves, which is, the effort that the Cowboys put into searching for offensive line, the effort that the Saints do, the effort that the Rams and the 49ers, they really put in effort to find the best of the best, no matter what they need to give up in order to get it. And I don't think that the Seahawks really went for that full force. But that's why he's not there. I think, in Denver, he's going to get a little bit more of that. And hopefully he don't get his head knocked off every single fucking season.
And look what the Niners did with Trent Williams. Like look at the trade the Seahawks made for Jamal Adams, right? Why doesn't that package plus a little bit more go to Trent Williams? You know what I'm saying? Like it's just weird to me. Like, and like don't get me wrong, of course you want to improve your secondary, but if Russ can get a better offensive line, he might be able to overcome the secondary, because we see Patrick Mahomes did it for his first 3 years. Their secondary was pretty bad before they got Tyrann. And even when they got Tyrann, he was like the only guy back there. But they had an offensive line, you know what I'm saying? Like, they had the offensive line to say, our offense, we're going to punish you, and we go try to not break on defense. And I think they should have did that rather than try to get Jamal Adams. Like, Trent Williams with Russ is insane.
Yeah. Dog, I don't know why they tried to get Jamal Adams. For whatever reason, they thought he was going to be the missing piece. I thought he was gassed even in New York because I didn't really see. I mean, like, he was good. Like, he was versatile, but I don't really. And I was like, I mean, trade for him. Like, you know, give up actual assets to have him on your team. I don't
let him hit the market, man.
Yeah, let him hit the market and see what happens. But yeah, we'll see about the Seahawks. I definitely think they will be trash, but they could surprise a few teams. So I don't think
you never know.
On them. Exactly.
They might still beat the 49ers again.
Might beat them twice. You never know.
You never know, for real.
Oh, y'all gotta watch out. I'm telling y'all about Kyle. But we'll go ahead and wrap it up with our division predictions. So 1 through 4, my man. What are you feeling?
I'm going to go Rams, 49ers, Cardinals, and Seahawks.
Okay.
I think that's pretty much the consensus around everywhere. Only thing I could see changing, like, I'm not going to say it.
I would agree.
You know, Niners fans going to say Niners first, Rams second. But, you know, I feel like the first 2 are pretty much solidified. And then I think if the Cardinals suffer any major injury, they could be fighting with the Seahawks.
Yeah. Nah, they definitely could. Like, 2 major injuries, you know, might send them into like top 5 pick status.
Yeah.
So I think I agree with, you know, your sentiments for sure. I think the Rams are probably going to win the division again. The Niners will probably be a close second. I could see the Cardinals coming in second in the division if Trey Lance is a total bust, because they don't really have a lot of other options at quarterback if he isn't that guy. So, you know, obviously they're about to ship Jimmy away somewhere, wherever he, you know, is desired. Lord knows where that is. But, you know, I do think that's probably, you know, the most accurate way to describe this division. It's clear and obvious who is the best team. You know, the pecking order is clear. So barring anything catastrophic, I agree. It should be y'all, the Niners, the Cardinals, and then rounding it out with those Seahawks.
Yeah, the AFC West definitely, they stole the hardest division title from us this year, like easily. Like, I don't look at our division how I did, you know, from 2012 to, you know, 2020. You know what I'm saying? Like, now it's like we still have 3 decent teams, but that third team's not hitting like he used to.
Nah, exactly, and that's why. I don't know. Hopefully they'll come back. Hopefully the Cardinals can get it together and, you know, get something a little bit more competitive on the field. Seahawks, we'll see, because like you said, like, I think the Seahawks have a decent team. They have some holes to fill, but they have good players at, you know, key positions. They just need to, you know, put it all together. So we'll see what happens, definitely. But I want to thank you, my guy, again for joining us for our NFC West Division preview. Please tell the people where they can find you and everything that you got going on.
You can find me on Twitter, your cousin Marty. And you can find me on Instagram, Babyface Marty. And, you know, if you ever want to see any Rams Super Bowl coverage, they'll be there. Hey, you remember? Hey, it's funny because in the Spaces all year, you know what I'm saying, they called us frauds. They said we wasn't going to do it. They said Matthew Stafford wasn't him. And he was him.
We did.
You know?
We did.
And Roddy, I want to give you respect because you was one of the people that actually believed in us at points. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people don't understand. Like, that's all he needed. And you a Georgia fan, so you know Stafford.
Yeah, no, I told everybody. I was like, look, man, like, we can overanalyze this shit as much as we want to, but if y'all get out the first round, y'all go into the NFC Championship. There's no way the Bucs were beating y'all. I saw that clear as day. Like, y'all just present a threat to them that they wasn't gonna be able to overcome. So I was like, it is what it is. I mean, you know, with a team that talented, oftentimes you don't see them live up to their full potential. So you automatically assume that, there's going to be some type of pitfall. But, I think it's really important to, not only have a winner in LA, but have a team in LA that's like really entertaining to watch as well.
Yeah.
And I think the Chargers are becoming that as well. It's good for the NFL. It's good for all that good branding stuff. So, yeah, man, we'll see what happens this year for your Rams. But again, I want to thank you. I knew you were going to pick the Rams to finish first. But thank y'all again for not only holding out with us, but tuning into this week's episode of the Players Ball Podcast. Like I said, we are going to be doing division previews. We will be doing the NFC East next week. We will have my guy Kyle on. We will have our guy Jude on to represent the New England Patriots. And we'll be talking a lot about Brian Flores and Stephen Ross trying to be a mob boss and get Tom Brady and a whole bunch of other stuff that goes down in Miami. So y'all stay tuned to that. Definitely follow us at the Players Ball 1 on Twitter, at the Players Ball Podcast on Instagram, and just stick around, man. We're going to be doing a lot of stuff for football season. So be sure to stick in, lock in, and yeah, until the next time, my guys, we will talk to y'all later. Peace.
Yes, sir.